Hey, what's up, everybody? So, this was a very highly requested video. Apparently, there's been this ad that's going around on YouTube, and guess what? It's another transphobic ad. Yeah. Are we surprised? No. Are we excited? Yes. Very. So this video right here has accumulated over 1 million views in like a week. Very impressive. Very impressive for a channel with 22,000 subscribers. And the like to dislike ratio is absolutely beautiful. This video is by Alliance Defending Freedom, and it's called Can Schools Keep Parents in the Dark? Has nothing to do with trans people in the title, right? Very interesting. Just a quick little background before I even react to this. Alliance Defending Freedom is an American conservative Christian nonprofit organization with the stated goal of advocating, training, and funding on the issues of religious freedom, sanctity of life, sanctity, whatever, sanctity of life and marriage and family, blah, 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 right? So my new favorite word that I learned is fear-mongering. I just learned it. I know, wow. This dude is so smart, right? It means it's a form of manipulation which causes fear by using exaggerated rumors of impending danger. So this is what these ads are doing. This is what a lot of transphobic people do. And this is an entire 5-minute video. That's long for transphobia. So you know what? Let's laugh. Let's break down some points.
Do the parents of a first-grade girl have a right to know if teachers and administrators at her school are encouraging her to believe that she's really a boy trapped in a girl's body?
I'm already crying, and it's not because of the transphobia. I don't know if any of you know this, but teachers, as of recent, a few years ago, there's been this class that they've now put in public schools where they actually convert kids to transgenderism. That's what's been going on lately. I'm really happy about this ad, actually, because, you know, nobody was speaking about this before.
This seems like a simple question with an obvious answer. The answer is yes. Yes, of course, the parents of a minor should at the very least know if their kid's school is influencing them toward making such a life-altering choice.
Really? Really? I love how they say that the school is influencing the child to make a life-altering choice. Showing kids a transgender person is not pushing them to become transgender.
Teachers are influencing our kids to become a transgender.
The Madison Metropolitan School District, a taxpayer-funded and government-run public education system, decided in 2018 that students of any age could take on a transgender identity with the school's assistance, and without parents' knowledge or consent.
They could take on a transgender identity. It's almost like it's like they're Spider-Man. They can take on the other identity without the parents knowing. Because this was an extreme point of view, I did do a little digging and I found out a lot. So I'm going to source everything that I got my stuff from if you want to take a look into it more, but I'm just going to read a little bit here. So there was a policy in this school district, a new policy in the Madison Metropolitan School District that would allow staff to use transgender students as preferred names and pronouns without consulting parents has been halted amid a temporary injunction after facing a conservative advocacy group's legal challenges. So then what happened is the parents sued on behalf of the Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty, a conservative advocacy group, and declared it unconstitutional for them to not be informed about their children's gender identity and resulting changes. So this right here is from the school district, and it says, "We are thrilled to have expanded guidance for our students, families, and staff to ensure our transgender, non-binary, and gender-expansive students thrive academically, socially, and emotionally." And then this guidance provides, and you can pause it to read it if you'd like. Basically what they're trying to do is, you know, make it safe for the kids who might be transgender. There's a good and a bad that comes with this whole situation, right? Whether you tell the parents or whether you don't. What I was thinking is, okay, first of all, the teachers aren't being forced to like withhold information from the parents. They're not being forced to. They're saying if a kid comes out as trans in school and they're like, my parents don't know, or my parents are not accepting of it, that would be a situation where the kid can feel comfortable in school, right? Being called Sam instead of Samantha, because at home it might be too dangerous for that kid to tell their parents, because they might already have told their parents and their parents abused them or whatever, or harassed them and said, no, you can't live this way, or no, you're gonna do this, and this, right? The thing is, if a kid doesn't want their parents to know about this in school, there has to be a reason for that. It's not the teachers transforming the kids into transgenders. The kid is coming to the teacher with this thing that they've been feeling, and they're too scared to tell their parents, or they already have, and their parents were like, no, you're gonna do this, this, and this.
The district's policy requires that all teachers not only affirm any gender identity a child of any age requests, but actively conceal it from parents. Madison's policy even directs teachers to keep parents in the dark by using their child's birth name and pronouns whenever the parents are nearby.
My favorite thing about these conservative ads is that they always lie. They make it so extreme. Fear-mongering, right? They have to actively conceal it from parents and keep their parents in the dark. Well, that's kind of funny because I found their policies online from a link, and I found this whole policy, and you feel free to pause it if you want because it's a lot to read, but the gist of it is, in this school district, with the permission of our students, we will strive to include families along the journey to support the LGBTQ plus youth. Anyway, so what it says in the screenshot is that, it can be dangerous for a kid's identity to be exposed to the parents. There's a reason that they're telling you at school but not to their parents, so they might not want the parents to know, because they could have gotten a slap in the face, they could have gotten harassed, they could have endless amounts of things,
Studies have shown that the vast majority of children who experience gender dysphoria, the feeling that they don't fit their biological sex, ultimately outgrow those feelings by puberty or adulthood.
Can we get a source, please? Can we just have some sort of source? Hold on a second. Let me try to find one. Oh. Okay, there actually is a source. It's, the website is called bullshit.org. Let me give you my favorite thing to say. I felt very different, probably around the age of 5, and almost 20 years later, I feel exactly the same. Did I grow out of it? I certainly did not.
By contrast, studies also show that affirming a young child's gender dysphoria can have the opposite result, reinforcing these feelings well into adulthood. And leaving parents out of the discussion makes matters even worse.
Okay, again, what studies? Like turfstudies.com? What studies are you talking about? Of course, leaving parents in the dark about a transgender kid is ultimately going to crumble, because as the kid gets older and they realize they're still trans and the parents have no idea, they can't help out, they can't do anything. That statement is way too vague.
As one expert, clinical professor of psychiatry at Case Western Reserve University School of Medicine, Dr. Stephen B. Levine has put it, for a child to live radically different identities at home and at school, and to conceal what he or she perceives to be his or her true identity from parents, is psychologically unhealthy in itself.
Duh. Do we need a doctor to tell us that? Of course, that would be hard on a kid. Of course it would. It's like you were literally Hannah Montana. You're living two different lives. You could be Bill at school, and then you're Celine at home. So obviously that would have some sort of effect on you. I did take a look into this guy because they actually gave us a source for once. But I did find this section in a thing that he wrote about trans people, which I was not a fan of, okay? I feel like he's leaning one way. I read quite a bit of this, and I found this paragraph, right? And it says, family and friend relationships. Gender transition routinely leads to isolation from at least a significant portion of one's family in adulthood. My transition did not lead me to isolation. It led me to happiness and surrounding myself with good people. We're actually cis, by the way. So, don't know if that makes a difference. In the case of a juvenile transition, this will be less dramatic while the child is young, but commonly increases over time as siblings who marry and have children of their own do not wish the transgender individual to be in contact with those children. Okay, so they're transphobic, and that's my issue. Why? Because they're mad that I'm trans. By adulthood, the friendships of transgender individuals tend to be confined to other transgender individuals, often virtual friends known only online, and the generally limited set of others who are comfortable interacting with transgender individuals. So, doesn't seem like he's the biggest trans fan, okay? Almost all of my friends are cisgender. I just want to share that because he puts it in such a negative light, and that's not what happens. Also, online friends aren't a bad thing, technology exists now in 2020.
In May 2019, one of the schools in the district held an assembly where kindergartners through 5th graders were made to watch a video of one of their teachers. In the video, the teacher read a book that says things like, "Are you a boy or a girl? How can you be both? Some days I am both. Some days I am neither. Most days, I am everything in between." Then came the big reveal. The teacher, 6 and 7-year-olds were told, now identifies as the opposite sex.
All right, so I understand the point of why people would be angry about this, right? Because they're seeing it as you are going to influence our children, that this is okay, that this is a normal thing, blah, blah, blah. But the thing is, okay, I'm going to use this example. Over the years, back then, we have always been shown straight representation. Straight people kissing, there's one man and a woman, you do this, you do that, right? Every person who consumed those pieces of content didn't end up being straight. And we're never influenced into being straight because we have gay people and bisexual people and pansexual people. Even after being exposed to all of the straight stuff, all of this straight stuff that was shoved down our throat, there are still gay people, okay? So my point is, showing kids or showing anybody that trans people exist or that gay people exist isn't going to push them to become gay or trans. Just like we've been seeing straight people forever. It didn't influence everybody to be straight because there are so many LGBT people. Coming off of that, I wanted to Google this story, and it was a real story, okay? I found it on the wonderful Fox News. What happened was a teacher came out as non-binary. You can refer to me as they, them, their. One parent of a first grader in Steele's class wrote online they were pissed off because there was no warning, no heads up given beforehand. I've had to sit down with my kids and explain that what they heard is flat out wrong and incorrect, the parent wrote. We will be kind to others, but we will not be involved in adult games of make-believe. Shame on those that support this. We will be kind to others unless you're fucking transgender. The thing about it is that parents think that it is this whole, pushing to be trans. And it's not pushing to be trans. It's just showing representation. And I get it. The kids are younger. Okay, you don't have to be taught this, and this, but being trans isn't a sexual thing. So I don't understand the problem with a teacher coming out and saying, hey, I'm non-binary, and if you guys could refer to me this way, I would appreciate that. Can anybody tell me what's wrong with that? Genuinely, if anybody is opposed to that, you can leave a comment. That's an actual question. Anyways, this is what they did to gay people back in the day. When they said it was propaganda and it was all this bad, awful stuff. Gay people are so evil, and they had ads for it and shit.
What Jimmy didn't know was that Ralph was sick, a sickness that was not visible like smallpox, but no less dangerous and contagious, a sickness of the mind. You see, Ralph was a homosexual, a person who demands an intimate relationship with members of their own sex.
And, now it's the transgenders' turns.
Under the school policy, disrupting the gender binary also means leaving it up to teachers and minor children whether or not the parents deserve to be included in developing a gender support plan.
They're acting as if the teachers are, grabbing that testosterone and shoving it in their legs, grabbing the estrogen pills and shoving it in their faces. Is it simply calling a kid Sam instead of Samantha? And saying he instead of she? It's the whole big gender plan scheme. We're going to shove hormones down your kids' throats and give them surgeries during class. That's what we're doing.
In response to this abuse of power and dereliction of duty by the Madison Public School District, 14 parents, with the help of Alliance Defending Freedom, together with lead counsel from the Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty, sued the district, calling on the court to uphold the fundamental rights of parents that are under threat from the policy.
Oh, geez. Okay. Under threat because their child feels like they might be trans. Such a big threat.
In September 2020, the court temporarily blocked the school district from lying to or deceiving parents about the gender identity their child may have adopted at school.
I love how they say may have adopted at school. The school is pressuring the child to become transgender instead of the school simply asks their name and their pronouns.
Parents should be able to trust their children's teachers to uphold basic values and to affirm biological realities.
Here we go with the basic values thing. It's not 1748 anymore. It's 2020. We don't have to live by basic values. These basic values have been challenged over decades, not even in just the 2000s. They've been challenged back then. You don't have to live a conservative way anymore. It's not 1700.
Is something similar happening at a school district near you? You're not alone. Reach out to www.adflegal.org.
Is your local school accepting of transgender students? Well, that's really bad. If it's happening, go to www.wesuck.com and submit your bullshit to us. Yeah, that was a lot. So I understand the concerns, right? If your child is doing all this stuff at school and not telling you, and you do have a right to know. If you abuse your child, I don't think you have a right to know. But I know these people aren't coming from a good place with this ad, obviously. If they took a different approach and didn't do the whole fear mongering thing, I think it could be taken a little bit more seriously. I think that, they just want to push basic conservative values onto these children. Push basic values onto the children. Push, right? Like, we're the ones pushing to make kids trans. Showing a trans person or seeing a trans teacher is not pushing anything on your children. It's showing them that there's different people in the world than what you've taught them. My favorite thing is this part right here. Freedom matters. Except for if you're transgender, you don't have freedom. You have to live by your basic values. Let's go back to George Washington days. Yeah, so that's my reaction to that video. Hey, thank you for sending it in. I really appreciate it. It was a good laugh when I first watched this video. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will have a new one for you very soon. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you very soon. Bye-bye.